Recently, I made videos about all the plants in Plants vs. Zombies 2 that have plush variants to them, and today I'm going to be doing the exact same thing, but with Plants vs. Zombies 2 Chinese Edition. As you probably know, Plants vs. Zombies 2 Chinese Edition has a bunch of unique plants, and some of them actually have unique plushes to them. And just like the other videos within this series, if a plant has multiple different plushes of them, I'm just going to be choosing the one to go over that's the most accurate. And I'm also going to be including customs, but there's really only one custom in this video, but I'm still just going to be including it. But yeah, starting off we have Bamboo Shoot. Now the best Bamboo Shoot plush is by far the one made by Linkson, as the embroidery on the face and everything just looks really good, and there's also multiple layers of plush material just to give it a bit more detail. And they also added some extra dark green stitching just to make the plush look just a bit more accurate, and overall they just did a really good job with this plush. And there's actually two variants to this plush, being one with a light dirt and the other with dark dirt. Now in my opinion, the dark dirt one just does look better, as I just like how it looks more, but besides that, there's really no changes about these plushes besides the color of the dirt. As literally everything else on this plush is the exact same, so the only thing that's really changed is either the dirt is just slightly lighter or slightly darker. But yeah, this is definitely the best Bamboo Shoot plush, but there's also another one made by Pangea that does look pretty strange. As all the embroidery on it looks basically the exact same as the Linkson one, and same thing with all the details. The only thing that they really changed about this plush is that they just didn't add the dirt to it, and for whatever reason they just left it normal. So yeah, for whatever reason, it just seems that they just forgot one detail and just left it like that, so yeah, overall it's a pretty strange one. But yeah, if you want either of these Bamboo Shoot plushes, you can look on eBay and Mercari. And the Linkson one isn't too hard to find, as it shows up a good amount, but the Pangea one's actually just really rare. Next we have the Fire Gourd. Now the best Fire Gourd plush is obviously the Linkson one but it just has really nice detail to it and everything, and it looks really nice. As all the embroidery on the face looks really good. The stem could get damaged though, as it was made out of a felt material, which is a downside to it. But besides that, all the details on this plush look really good. The plush is just really nicely stuffed and also just really nicely shaped, so it continues to look accurate. The leaf on this plush also looks accurate, as there's some embroidery in the middle of it just to give it a bit more detail, but yeah, overall they just did a really nice job with this plush and it isn't too hard to find. And there's also a Pangea Fire Gourd plush, which looks very similar to the Linkson one, but there's actually quite a few changes. As first off, the embroidery on the face just looks a lot weirder, as basically everything on the face looks the exact same as the Linkson one besides the pupils and the eyes. As for whatever reason, the eyes are facing opposite directions, which just ends up making the plush look really weird, especially because the eyes are almost going off of the plush. As for whatever reason, they're just really far out, and I don't really know why they did that, but it just makes the entire plush just look really strange. But yeah, besides that, the leaf and the stem are once again made out of a felt material, but unlike the Linkson plush, the leaf actually isn't made out of a plush material and is basically attached to the stem. And it's also just slightly differently shaped, and this one's extremely rare. And the most common Fire Gourd plush is the newly released Linkson 2 one. As this one was just released earlier this year, and it looks pretty good, especially because it has a costume on it, which just makes it a bit more unique. And this is also the most common one out there, as you could easily find it on websites like eBay and AliExpress for really cheap. Next we have the Heavenly Peach. Now there's only two Heavenly Peach plushes, and the Linkson one's by far the best. As the embroidery on the face is really accurate, as since Heavenly Peach is a pretty simplistic plush, the embroidery looks pretty good. And the shape of the actual peach also looks really nice, and there's a little bit on the top of it just to give it a bit more detail, but just slightly more stuffed. The leaves on this plush are made out of this feltish material, and there's some stitching in the middle of the leaves just to give it a bit more detail, and they're stitched onto the bottom of the Heavenly Peach, so they continue to be bent in a certain way just to make them look a bit better. And if you want this plush, it isn't that hard to find, as you can look on eBay and they'll eventually show up every couple of months. And the most common Heavenly Peach plush is one released by Linkson 2 the exact same time as the Fire Gourd. And once again, just like the Fire Gourd, this one's actually wearing a costume and everything, and it looks pretty good. The only downside to this plush is that the leaves are just way too small. So if they just increased the size of the leaves, I think this plush would have overall just looked a lot better. And if you want this plush, you can look on eBay and AliExpress, and it's really common. Next we have the White Radish. Now there's this custom of the White Radish that I found, which is overall just really good as well. It's overall just a really nice custom, and I think that the person that made it did a really good job with it. And while this is the only custom White Radish plush I've ever seen, and while it looks really good, all the details on the face and everything look accurate, and it seems to be really nicely stuffed. But there's also another plush that people consider to be a White Radish, being this one. Now, this plush actually just isn't a Plants vs. Zombies plush at all. It's actually made for a game called Carrot Fantasy, but still, a lot of people consider it a White Radish plush for some reason. And well, it doesn't even really resemble the White Radish at all, so yeah, it's overall just a pretty strange one, especially because on eBay it's just really overpriced. So yeah, I honestly wouldn't recommend getting this one as well, but it just looks really strange and everything, and it's just a really strange plush that for some reason people consider to be a White Radish. Next we have the MC Glory. Now one thing that makes this plush a bit more unique is that it's actually within a flower pot. Now so there's a set of Links in 2 plushes that were all in flower pots, and well, none of the plushes were really that unique besides this one. As of overall, the entire set was just really lackluster, and this is the only interesting one that was in it. And well, there's a metal rod within the middle of the head just to make it stand up a bit more, and well, if you get this plush, you'll obviously be able to notice it, as well, it just either makes the head lean to the left or the right, as well, basically none of these plushes actually have their head in the middle, as well, the metal rod makes them either bend one way or another. And well, the rest of the plush overall looks really good, as well, all the details on this plush look really nice, and it's actually a decent looking plush. And while it's also a really common one, you could easily find on websites like eBay and AliExpress for pretty cheap. Next we have the Saucer Squash. Now the embroidery on the face on this plush looks really good, and basically the entire plush is just really nicely stuffed. As of all the details and everything basically look perfect on this plush, and the stem's also a really nice detail with all the leaves coming out around it just to make it look slightly nicer. So yeah, this is definitely a really nice looking plush, and even though it's a really simplistic one, they still just did a really good job with it. And while this was also really common, once again, it's around the same rarity as MC Glory, meaning that you could get it easily on websites like eBay and AliExpress for very cheap. Next we have the Dragon Fruit. Now the embroidery on the face looks pretty good, but is by far the simplest part of the plush, as though if you look at the entire plush, they actually put a lot of detail into it. As though they actually added a ton of different pieces of plush material to the sides of the plush just to give it a bit more detail and make it just look a bit nicer. As of in the game, you can see on the outside of it there's actually some extra detail, and while Links in 2 did a great job representing that in plush form. They also did a really nice job cutting the leaves and everything, as well. The leaves actually look really unique on this plush, and they also have some stitching in the middle of them just to give it a bit more detail. But yeah, overall, this is just a really nice looking plush that they obviously put a lot of work into, as well. There's actually a lot of detail compared to most Links in 2 plushes. And well, if you want this one, it's once again really common, and you can look on eBay and AliExpress and get it for really cheap. Next up we have the Gatling Pee. Now the only Gatling Pee plush that was ever made that was based off of the PVZ2 China design was this plush made by WorldMax. And well, it's just a really simple plush, so literally all it is just a pillow with a Gatling Pee printed onto it. Which is why it looks really good, as it's literally just the simplest plush to make, as all they had to do is just get a Gatling Pee picture and print it onto a pillow. And while this plush is also just extremely rare, as it was just given away for a very short amount of time, so not many people were able to get it. And well, if you want it, your best bet is looking on eBay or Mercari, but you just have a really low chance of finding it. Next we have the Cattail. Now, just like the Gatling Pee plush, this one was made by WorldMax, and it's the only Cattail plush that is based off of the PVZ2 China design. And well, once again, all it is just a pillow with a printed on Cattail on it, and once again, it's just extremely rare, as though there are barely any of these pillows that were actually ever given away. And well, next up we have the Tactical Cuke. Now the reason why I saved this one for last is it was not really even a plant, it's more of a power-up. As up in the game, you basically just use this plant as a power-up if you're in a really bad situation, so yeah, honestly, it's barely even considered a plant. So yeah, honestly, I really have no idea why they made it into a plush, as though you barely even use this plant within the game. But yeah, still, all the embroidery on the face looks really good, and they put a ton of effort into it. As of all the details and everything just look really nice, and they just honestly put a lot of effort into this plush by the looks of it, and it looks really good. The shape of it also looks really nice, and they also really nicely stuffed it and everything, so yeah, overall it's just a really good looking plush. And well, if you want it shouldn't be too hard to find, and you can look on eBay and Mercari, and it shows up every once in a while. Now, next up we actually have a plush that wasn't even originally supposed to be in this video, as it was just released yesterday at the time when this video is releasing. As we have the Wax Guard, which is a brand new Linkson 2 plush that literally just released. So yeah, this video was already scheduled to release and everything, and then this plush just released, so yeah, this one wasn't even originally supposed to be in the video, but since it just released, might as well add it. And well, overall, it looks pretty good. The embroidery on the face looks nice, and it's also wearing a pretty cool looking costume. But yeah, I'm not going to give you an in-depth review right now, as I'm going to make a completely separate video reviewing the 2 new plushes that were in the set tomorrow. But yeah, those are all the Plants and Plants vs. Zombies 2 Chinese edition in plush form. And well, as you can tell, there's actually barely any of them, which sort of makes sense, as a lot of these plants are just really obscure, and the majority of people wouldn't end up buying them, as not a lot of people know what the characters actually are. So it sort of makes sense why they didn't make too many of them. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, then please like and subscribe, and comment down below which of these plushes are your favorite, and yeah, have a great day.